Hello my loves, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts and welcome back. Now one thing no one ever tells you when you start your yarn life is how much stuff is involved. You pick up a crochet hook one day and the next day you're surrounded by bags of yarn and stacks of books. If you've let your space get a little out of hand, then you've clicked on the right video. Today, I've got a whole heap of ideas to keep your yarn life organized. If that sounds like a good time, give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And before we can talk organizing our yarn life, we have to give some love to our Cup of Caffeine sponsor. As you can tell, I am in another hotel room, and that means I get to indulge in a little bit of Timmy's. Today's Cup of Caffeine sponsor is Naomi, and when donating, Naomi said, "I love your channel and learn so much from you. Plus, you are a pleasure to watch and make your viewers feel welcome." I love that. Well, listen, Naomi, you can come saddle up next to your crochet bestie anytime. I will keep the seat warm for you. Now, if you enjoy my videos and want to support my channel, buy me a coffee. Who knows? I might shout you out in the next one. Now, let's talk getting organized. Let's start things off with the biggest part of our stashes, and that is typically the yarn. Now you should keep the yarn in the put up that you purchased it in. If it was in a hank, keep it in a hank. If it's in a skein, keep it in a skein, etc. If you did wind your yarn, try to use it within the next couple of months. Wound yarn, especially natural fibers, can tend to lose their elasticity over time. If you do have those cakes on hand, try to rewind them into softer cakes or use your yarn swift and turn them back into little mini hanks. You'll also want to pick a system for storing your yarn. I personally love to start by yarn weight, then I'll break things up into fiber and finally into color. I also like to store yarn that I bought for a particular project all together. I'll print out the pattern that I plan to use with it, put a big rubber band or hair tie around it so you won't forget what you bought that yarn for. Now, regardless of the yarn that you keep in your stash, you need to be concerned about pest management. Yes, even you acrylic lovers, carpet beetles will have a field day with that stuff. If you want to keep your yarn on display, you might want to try some scent deterrents like cedar or peppermint. You can take a little bit of lavender, put that into a baggie, and put those sachets in different parts of your stash to keep the critters away. It's also important to physically rotate and inspect your yarn over time. Those critters are going to lay eggs into your yarn, and when those eggs hatch, those bugs are going to feed on your yarn. So take your yarn off the shelves, inspect it every now and then put it back into place. A more effective but less aesthetically pleasing option are going to be airtight bins. Now these are going to protect your yarn from all critters, including moths, which are not susceptible to scent deterrents. So what options do you have when it comes to yarn storage? Here are a few ideas. A yarn wall is a great option for displaying your yarn. You get to show off your creativity while also keeping your yarn within arm's reach. Just be sure to recake that yarn so it doesn't lose its elasticity. Crochet baskets. This option uses up a good amount of stash while also creating a custom storage solution. Hold several strands of worsted or bulky weight yarn together to make a sturdy scrap basket. A shoe organizer. Now, whether you go with the option that's over the door or under the bed, this is gonna get your yarn off the floor and away from pests. Bookcases. Now, this is an option used by many crafters, myself included. Try to find bookcases that offer a cubby option or use cube baskets to make your own cubbies. Vacuum bags. So moths, smoke, and wetness are all out to get your well-curated stash. But vacuum bags are going to protect from all of those. When you put your yarn into those vacuum bags, slip in a little post-it note that lets you know exactly what's in each bag. Stackable storage. I've been seeing these solutions a lot for closet organization, and this is great for your yarn as well. It keeps the yarn organized and within sight, and they fit just about anywhere. Craft cabinets. Now, if you have a couple grand lying around and you want the ultimate organization system, a dream box is for you. I had a dream box for several years, and I love that it was a great way to show off my stash while keeping everything that I owned within arm's reach. And one of the best parts of it is that it closes up into its cute and tidy little armoire. There are videos out there to DIY your own dream box if you are feeling handy. Crochet hooks should ideally be stored tip side up. Now this is gonna prevent the tips from chipping or breaking. If keeping your hooks upright doesn't vibe with your crochet practice, keep them in some kind of soft pouch or like a padded pencil case. When I organize my hooks, I like to start with size. That means I can always find the size that I need, and then I can choose what material hook I want to work with. If you need a little inspo for organizing your tools and notions, here are a few ideas. A makeup brush organizer. This is my go-to solution. I found several acrylic organizers that have 9 compartments. I put each of the sizes on a little bit of washi tape and put that on the side of the case, and now all of my hooks have a home. A hook display. Crochet hooks are lovely and they deserve to be on display. You can find several different options on Etsy as well as Amazon. A zipper pouch. If you keep your hook collection small, a zipper pouch might be a great option. You can make one yourself or get one that's about 8 inches long, and that should be enough to store your hooks as well as your smaller notions. DIY crochet hook holder. This is a really nice option if you want to customize how many loops you have for your hooks, and then you can also add in other pockets for notions, scissors, and tape measures. Foldable organizers. So I got this foldable organizer from my bestie Lisa ages ago, and I've been using it since day one. It has space for my hooks as well as all of my scissors, tapestry needles, tape measures, and much more. I like to take it with me while I'm traveling, but it's a great everyday option as well. A jewelry case. Now the jewelry organizers that are made for travel have those cute little compartments that are perfect for stitch markers and tapestry needles. Add in a tape measure and maybe some scissors, and you've got a travel notions pack that is always ready to go. Crochet trays. Now I'm always gonna give you a DIY option, okay? Crochet trinket trays are super cute and another great way to use up stash. I personally have my tricolor trays pattern, but you can find patterns for trinket dishes on Etsy, Ravelry, or wherever you like to get patterns. A notions tin. Now I have to give all the credit to my friend Vincent who put me up on this nice little hack. He uses Altoids tins to make notions packs. Now once you've gone through all of those mints, wipe out the tin and then put a little sheet of magnet on the back of it. That way you can put in a metal tapestry needle, some metal scissors, drop in some stitch markers as well as a tape measure, and again, you've got a nice travel kit. Make multiples of these kits and then you can keep them with multiple WIPs. So genius. Thanks so much, Vincent. I used to be a purely analog note taker and found that I really gravitated toward grid notebooks as well as dot grid notebooks. Ruled notebooks just didn't give me the space for the creativity that I needed to utilize. Grid notebooks give you a little bit of structure, but they also allow you to take notes, draw pictures, and do calculations very easily. I filled at least a half dozen of these dot grid notebooks since I found them on Amazon, and I think you'll love them too. If you want a paperless option, try using a tablet instead of a notebook. I like to use the Notability app on my iPad to organize my yarn life as well as my business life. I have the ability to import my PDF patterns as well as my photos. I can customize my colors, and I get to choose between a pen, a pencil, and a highlighter within the app. Every crochet stash comes with a little bit of stationery, so here's some ideas to keep all those little bits and bobs organized. Knit and crochet journals. Now these dedicated journals help you to organize and archive your projects. There are several options out there with dedicated sections on the page to organize the most important details of your project, from the hook size, the yarn used, and the size and the pattern that you're working with. DIY journal pages. Now, if you want to get really specific with what's on your journal page, design your own with a program like Canva. You can then print out the pages as you need them or send them to a printer for a custom spiral notebook. Rolling carts. Rolling carts like these were really hot for a few years, but I still see their usefulness. Not only can you store yarn and notions on them, but you should save a little bit of space for stationery like pencils and notebooks. Drawer organizers. Now these are not just for post-it notes, even though that is something I keep in there. But this is also a great space for overflow stitch markers, tapestry needles, and other crochet knickknacks. Just make sure you clean that out and dust it every now and then because those things attract dust like magnets. With so many gorgeous patterns out there, it's easy to get carried away and start new WIPs or works in progress. Now, I personally like to have a cap on how many WIPs I'll allow myself to have and some kind of system to know when I need to focus on finishing them. This does take a lot of willpower, but there is something so satisfying in finishing a long-term project. When it comes to clearing out WIPs, it's important to find a system that works for you. For 2024, I'm trying my best to finish one old project every single month. Now that makes me feel accomplished that I got something done, and it makes me feel a lot better for the 1 to 2 WIPs that I am adding to that pile. Now you know that old saying, out of sight, out of mind? This couldn't be more true when it comes to those works in progress. If you dump that project bag in the bottom of a closet, you will never see it again. Instead, store your WIPs in a place where you will see them on a regular basis. This will remind you that they're there and encourage you to finish them eventually. When storing your WIPs, try to keep them in a project bag. Now, a dedicated project bag is nice, but a plastic shopping bag or a Ziploc bag works just as well. Try to keep the hooks and notions that you use with that project in the bag as well, but if you can't spare them, just put in a Post-it note so you'll know exactly what tools you use with that project. For long-term storage of your WIPs, I'm gonna go back to those vacuum bags that I talked about earlier, or those clear stackable bags. This is gonna keep your project safe while also making sure you keep it organized. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I am not scared to admit that I have a project bag problem. They are my weakness. I might walk into a yarn store and not find any yarn that I want to take home, but I'm gonna find a project bag. I like to keep my project bags corralled by keeping bags in bags. You know those reusable shopping bags that you get from Joann? I have some small ones and some big ones. So my zipper pouches, my notions pouches are gonna go into that small bag. I have one dedicated large bag for my smaller pouches and one dedicated large bag for my bigger pouches. If you want another solution, you might want to consider a vertical purse storage option. Now they have ones that go over the back of the door, or you can use one that hangs on the bar inside the closet to keep everything organized. Now to really save space when it comes to project bags, think thin. I said it before, but I'll say it again. The TLYC O-Snap bags are the most underrated storage bags ever. The snaps won't snag your yarn like zippers will, and they have the O-Snap bags now that have a gusseted bottom and a pocket for your notions. They have flexible mesh, they're super easy to store, and they're great for travel. I swear by these things. You can use whatever you have for a project bag. Promotional tote bags that you get from work are gonna work, as well as the Ziploc bags and grocery bags that I mentioned earlier. This is also a great chance to flex those DIY skills, so if you're good with a needle and thread, you can make your own project bags from cotton or canvas. You can also crochet drawstring bags and baskets to hold those prized WIPs. If you're feeling really fancy, go ahead and line your bag and then add a little pocket for your notions. Managing your stash doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. And for me, it's more than about just putting stuff away. The state of my space is reflective of the state of my mind. Having an organized studio allows my creativity to flow and makes me just feel way more comfortable in my crochet practice. I really hope you can incorporate some of these tips into your yarn life, because we all deserve the serenity of an organized stash. I'd love to know if you've tried any of these solutions and if you have some others that you can offer to us. Drop down in the comments and tell me everything. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.